Yeah, okay. It's on the right Wi-Fi. Excellent. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Hello, Melody. Hello, Purple Girl. Hello, Elizabeth. Who else is in the house? So lovely. Creations by Lydia. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to all of you. How are you doing this morning? Good morning. Dawn to dusk. Good morning. How are you doing, Nietzsche? Good morning. Oh, and I got a frog in my throat. Everything always happens at once. One Rocket One, good morning. You've got a cold? I hope I'm not getting a cold. What happens is every week I go bowling, and after bowling, I feel like I pick up something and my body takes some time to try and get rid of it because I'm not normally around humans except for once a week when I go bowling with a bunch of really awesome ladies. Good morning, Sarsaparilla and Trebellina. Good morning. Okay, it's actually quite cold down here, but hopefully I will warm up. So good morning. Welcome in, everybody. This will stop. Okay. Welcome in. Thank you for joining. Welcome to Fashion Friday. I do not like that glare. Oh, that's going to annoy me. That is going to annoy the living daylights out of me. Do I have other glasses I can put on that might be less? Hang on. Can't handle it. I can't handle the truth. No, of course I. Oh, those are not. Those are reading glasses. That's not going to work. Never mind. I'm just gonna there. I'm just gonna go like that. That's better. I'll just ignore it. It's the phone. It's the phone. That's only on that side. How weird. Anyways, good morning, everybody. In print condition, I'm so busy concentrating on that. I'm not saying hi to everybody in the chat. Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody today? Okay. So feel free to ask your questions and share your shows. We have the wonderful Elizabeth Oda with us today for Fashion Friday. Alulu, welcome in. So get your questions ready. We'll try to answer as many as we can. And then hello, there she is, Elizabeth Oda. Let me boop you. Good morning, Linda, the crazy bead lady. How are you? The Sisterhood of the Traveling Handcuffs is continuing. So you need to follow the crazy bead lady. Good morning, Leah. How are you? Welcome in. I have a frog in my throat that won't go away. Hopefully it will, so that I can concentrate. And I'm just going to ignore this here. So we're gonna bring on Melody first in just a minute. Good morning, so lovely things. How are you? It's warmer now that you're inside. I'm in the basement now, so now I'm cold. So I don't have the heat on in this room. So I'm gonna wait for a hot flash. Then I'll be fine. I do, but then hot flash. So a hot flash. That's all I need. I just need a hot flash. Yes, crazy bee lady, feel free to announce. Let everybody know. So what's going on with the Sisterhood of the Traveling handcuffs and anything else you want to announce. Tonight, opening of the traveling handcuffs, Trendy Thrifter 007 will be at 7:45 and Crystal Darlings at 10 p.m. Ooh. So is it Crystal Darlings because she's last? Or is it Trendy Thrifter because she's first? Who has the handcuffs? Oh. Oh. I need to know, but I can't stay up till 10 to find out. I guess if I watch Trendy Thrifter and she's got the handcuffs, then I'll know the answer. I love that you guys are doing that. It's totally fun. Ashley, welcome in. DJE, what's up? Hello. Sarsaparilla has $10 vintage dresses today in the house of Sass. Cool. What time? What time are you doing that, Sarsaparilla? And Crazy Bead Lady says at 9 p.m. the Sparkle Sisters are going live, which is the Crazy Bead Lady and Make Mine Beautiful, for a fun night with jewelry making. Please feel free to join and give a toast to a new whatnot friendship. I love it. 10:30 a.m. So in about 10:30 a.m. Which time are you in? Which time are you in? Sorry. Time zones help. Canada. Is it like in half an hour or is it in like 2.5 hours? or 3.5 hours. So welcome in. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Melody, are you set? I'm just going to double check that I have my questions because I had so much trouble this morning with it. There. Yes, I have my questions. Okay, I'm good. I've got my questions. Troublina is going to be on for a quick pop-up today at 2 p.m. Heels, jewelry, and clothes, and So Lovely Things every Thursday at 7 p.m. So Lovely Things makes handmade and upcycled women's clothing and bags. I love it. Hey, Creations by Lydia. Fashion FriYAYS. So welcome to Fashion FriYAY. Thanks for asking. So Fashion FriYAY is um is a series that we've been doing since January. Yeah. So it's a weekly series where I interview a seller on Whatnot, and we discuss, and they're a fashion, one of the categories that they sell in is fashion. So each week we have a different person come on. I interview them, and we just talk about selling on Whatnot. We answer questions from the audience about selling on Whatnot, and we just have a really great time. And then at 11 o'clock ish, we raid into Melody Cohn, who's here in the room. Say hi, Melody. And it should be on in a second to introduce our guest. And then Melody will continue the conversation with our guest. We really appreciate our guests donating their time like this. It is awesome. So she will be continuing the interview and talking more. And Melody continues to talk about selling and answering questions about selling with the guest, but also talks about fashion and fashion trends and that sort of thing. So it's kind of we're a team. So Melody picks the guests, and then she does all the booking, and I'm the morning mouthpiece. That's what I am. Nat Finds, welcome in. Mathro, I love that name. Welcome in. Okay, let's do this. Go to my phone, make it work. Come on. Work, 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 work. There we are. So down below, I have pinned my free resources for Whatnot sellers. If you're new to my seller chat shows, I have free resources. I have a goal planner that you can download. That's a 4-week cycle for sellers who want to start scaling up their Whatnot business and reach their goals. There's also show planners in there with checklists in that. There's thermal warning labels for winter and summer. There's recycled box labels you can use, all free. Everything's free. It says 2026 down there below because that's the year we're in. Next year, my free resources will say 2027. Okay, so let me find Melody. Oops, I almost booped Troublina into the chat. Okay. Troublina would have been like, what? All right, Melody, here we go. Melody is going to come on. Hopefully we don't have any issues with sound.
Hi, friends. Good morning. We're just not just waking up, but trying to wake up. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's well. Hi.
Hello.
So I'm very excited about today's guest. I consider her a very good friend. She actually was, I think she was my first purchase on the other platform and my first purchase on this platform. She was the first person to ever purchase from me. She's always supported me. She's very much into community on the platforms in her real life. So the reason why I selected Elizabeth isn't just because she's my friend. I'm just going to put my tea down. It's because she's just a badass bitch, really. She is a retired criminal lawyer. She's fought, and Elizabeth, I've read all your cases. I've deeply studied you. She's like, oh no. um, she has fought incredible cases in Superior and Supreme Court here in Canada. She's an incredible resource here on Whatnot. And she's incredibly fashionable. Her sense of style is amazing. She's always finding really great She's just incredible at sourcing, always finding really great items. I personally think that she's underappreciated. Sometimes I'm baffled by the lack of engagement in her shows because the stuff that she shows is incredible. So I would love to see more support. Um, I'm not going to ramble more. I'm going to let you guys meet the wonderful Elizabeth. So without further ado, I invite Elizabeth to Fashion Friday. And everybody, I wish you great Fashion Friday. See you in a bit.
Thank you, Melody.
Bye.
Bye. I gotta boot you. I
Oh,
got.
wait. All right. Bye. Here we go. And you
Oh,
can
you're
boot
gonna
me
boot
off.
yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Boot yourself.
Oh, can I do it
Oh, no,
myself?
I'm sure you can, but yeah, you can, but I have removed you from there. Okay. Thank you, Melody, so much for that intro. And Elizabeth, if you're ready, I will bring you on. If I can spell Elizabeth. Oda. Send. There we go. Oh, right, perfect. Okay. So, welcome in, everyone. If you're just coming in, our guest today is Elizabeth Oda. I'm going to invite her to co host. And thank you for that great introduction. Did it do it? Yeah, it did it.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I've got my headphones on, so hopefully there's no echo.
Perfect. I don't hear an echo. It seems
Anyone
all right.
else?
So, I think we're good.
We're good.
Yay. Awesome.
Hi, Danny. Hi, neighbor.
Um, so, I, Melody is, I know Melody loves the criminal lawyer thing. I'm going to just touch a little bit on it. I'm not going to, that's not going to be my show. Because I really want to talk about sort of your pivot. Because
Sure.
I think this is a really interesting pivot. Um, in your retirement to come and do reselling. So, if you want to just give a quick introduction of you and what you like your reselling story, and you can say the names of other platforms.
Okay, absolutely. Happy to do that. So, I've been selling on the other platform, rhymes with gosh dark, for for 4 years. I started in May of 2022, and I began that journey for fun. I had a lot of things from my mother's estate that I could not absorb into my own life. Beautiful things, handbags, and my children didn't want them. And my daughter's friend actually worked as an executive at Poshmark, and I'm like, well, what is this Poshmark thing? Do you think I could sell, grandma's alligator purses on there? And he's like, well, why don't you try it? So I did, and they sold, and that was all very exciting. And so I started to sell my own personal closet because I no longer was wearing any of my business suits and all my high-heeled shoes and really good clothes that I had from my professional career, and I never wore them. Like, I practiced law with my husband. um, he's worn a suit and tie exactly once in the last 5 years. So his ties, all 300 of them, have been sold. So that's how it started. And um, when you retire and your whole source of income dries up completely, that's a little scary. So I saw it as a source of just making a little extra money just to pay for like the little extras. And then I really began to enjoy it. I love fashion. I love going to auctions and buying like racks of clothing. It's an adventure. We drive out to previews that take place in things like airport hangars that are full of racks and racks and racks of clothing, and then we bid on them and go pick them up to see what we won, and it's amazing. So that's what happened, and now I do it. I mean, I'd say it's still a pretty part-time thing, a couple times a week. I mean, this week I've been doing the 7-day challenge thing on Whatnot, but that's not normal for me. Normally I would do 1 or 2 shows a week. So that's what happened, and I've met this community of people on both platforms and become friends in real life with them. I've had events in my home where I've invited a whole group of people, and we've done a live stream, and it was amazing. Here on Whatnot, I've met the lovely Danny, who just lives maybe 5 kilometers away from me, and I've got another person who's coming to do local pickup. So I'm meeting new people over here too. It's really great.
I
Yeah.
that. So, what made you choose Whatnot specifically? Did someone introduce you to it, or did you find it on your own?
So back last year when the strike happened, Melody told me about it, and I did start you had to apply then, and I did apply and got approved for a Whatnot account. I did a couple of shows, but I didn't really pursue it at that time because I was very comfortable on the other platform and doing quite well there. And then more recently, this year, this January, I was talking to Melody about it and decided to try and make a real effort to develop a presence here and to not have all my eggs in one basket, let's just say, because I have a lot of inventory and it's nice to bring it to a new audience. And I don't think you really should have your eggs all in one basket. I mean, that's up to people what they do, but I think that when you've invested heavily, a lot of people sell on multiple platforms.
Yeah.
So Melody really is what got me over here, actually.
So there you go. Thank you, Melody. You're a good ambassador for Whatnot. Um, so when you returned, because I mean, when you joined Whatnot over a year ago during the strike, Whatnot Canada was a lot different than it is now. It was a lot smaller. As not as many people on the app. There wasn't as much marketing. The team has done an amazing job to market Whatnot Canada. There's always more that they could do, but they've done an amazing job with the budget that they have. With your return in January, what did your first show feel like? And and can you explain? Can you tell people about that experience of coming back and what differences you felt between then and now?
Absolutely. So my first show back, I mean, I had great support from the community. I'm Kyle and Tashawn were super supportive and helpful, and Melody, and I met some new people. I had advertised it as like my first show in a year, and it felt very welcoming. And people bought stuff. It was good. It was a nice experience. Yeah. Um, when I did it the early, like when I first began back during the strike, I had American visitors and actually sold some stuff to the US. I haven't sold anything to the US at all. And I don't really see many people from the US coming in. I do have people from the UK and Australia coming in. So that's exciting and fun to see people from other parts of the world. But I feel like we really are pretty Canadian centric now, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that. I guess it's because of the tariffs, and people don't want to get an unhappy surprise when they get their parcel.
Yeah, absolutely. What I found is that what I do is whenever I see that someone is a US buyer who's bought from me, is I send them a quick message just to say, I want to make sure before I ship this out that you are aware that there's going to be extra costs on top of what you already paid. And if you don't want to pay that, it's okay. If you want to do a cancellation, then I'm perfectly fine with that. I will accept it because I totally understand. Because sometimes people come into rooms and they dismiss that warning or they ignore that warning, and that warning really doesn't give you an idea of what's going to happen. But that being said, I have found that my higher end items that I sell, mostly out of my marketplace,
Mhm.
when I message those US buyers and say, just so you know, there's going to be extra costs, they're perfectly fine with it. They like, so it's sort of if you list your higher end items, put them on your marketplace so they're available night and day, you are going to get US buyers and they're going to be okay with it. Because but always ask anyways, just be on the safe side. uh,
Absolutely, great idea. I mean, they know they if they're shopping in your marketplace, they know and they've had opportunity to think about it, and it's not such an maybe an impulse thing that they like see it on your show like, oh, I want that.
yeah,
Bid,
but
bid,
I
bid.
always double check with them just in
Yeah,
case, because they don't get a warning. Like, it's not the same warning that comes up as when you go into a live show. So I want to make sure that it's better to ask them and take an extra day for them to respond to you, um and make sure that they're happy, than to have somebody who gets upset at the entire platform, because they got a huge bill, or not a huge bill, but they got a bill from UPS for their customs brokerage fees. I have noticed that if your item is pre-listed and has all the information in it, the customs brokerage fee goes down. So it's my like unboxing shows that are going to cost my American customers more than if I have pre-listed stuff. So, but if you have high-end things still, I would put them in your marketplace anyways, because people are always looking for those items, right? Uh,
Absolutely.
no matter where they are in the world, they're willing to pay for it. So after a decades of a very serious, high stakes career, what does it feel like to do something that's genuinely fun for for a living
Oh,
now?
it's joyful, and it's it's liberating. I mean, I enjoyed my career. It was important work. It was good work, but it was obviously very stressful and high stakes for the people involved. If you messed up there, people, lost their
Totally.
livelihoods and went
Yeah.
to prison, actually, is what happened to them. They went to jail, sometimes for long periods of time. Here, if I make a mistake, someone might get the wrong T-shirt. So that kind, there's no real stress. In that regard. So it's fun and I enjoy it. And when I stop enjoying it, I'll stop doing it, I guess. It doesn't feel like work. I mean, there was one day when my husband says, "What are you going to do today?" And I said, "Oh, I gotta go to work." And he's like, "That's the first time you've ever said that about this." And I'm like, "Oh, I guess it's starting to feel like a little bit work." So I, um, I took a month off of doing live shows at that point and just refreshed myself. I mean, I still had my closet open and people made purchases, but I didn't do any live streams. I just took a step back and rested and came back to it. Like, it's nice to be able to have that flexibility to do that. Like, and then if something comes up, like my girlfriends want to go for lunch or something, I can just reschedule my show, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to do it. I'm not answerable to anyone but myself.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that attracts a lot of people to Whatnot, is the fact that there's that complete flexibility that, if you've got kids, or you're retired and you want to do other things. And, for me, I've adjusted my schedule now that my husband is retired, and he's home more, so I can do more on Whatnot than I could before. I mean, there's total flexibility. I love that. There's no one way to Whatnot. So um, if you want, yeah, if you're not feeling well, if you're not feeling well, not
Mhm.
just if you want to go out with friends, but you're not feeling that great that day, and it will feel like work if you try to push through a show, then reschedule your show, and Whatnot does
Absolutely.
not penalize you. So um so your bio on Whatnot says that you're living your best retired life. Do you think that energy comes through when you go live? And is it intentional, or it's just who you are? I assume it's just who you are.
I think it's just who I am. I mean, I try. I watched a lot of shows at the beginning on Whatnot from the US, and I have my approach to selling is very different. It's not, I don't do sudden death. I don't do super fast paced. I don't do, a kind of in your face yelling at people thing. And I felt like there was space on this platform for a, shall we say, kinder, gentler approach to shopping. And so people who want that kind of an experience, who want to be able to come in and have me curate something for them and help them with their purchase, it's really important to me to make sure that somebody is getting something that fits. If someone is trying to buy something or wants to buy something that I don't think is going to fit them based on past purchases, I'll always tell them that, I don't think this is your size. Do you still want it? It doesn't kind of it jive with what I understand from what you've purchased in the past. And people are really they receive that very well. And maybe it could be they're buying it for someone else,
Mm.
in which case they buy it, or it could be, oh yeah, you're right, that's not going to fit me. Thanks so much, and just put it back on the rack, and it'll find its home eventually. So I felt like there was space on this platform for that kind of an approach, and I hope I'm right. So we'll just carry on with that. I mean, that's how I operate on the other platform as well. Just slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, I think that almost like a personal shopper experience is something that
Yeah.
a lot of people are craving. Um, Especially with when you go to a mall, it's all the same stuff, but you can come into a whatnot show and see all kinds of unique items and have somebody who understands style and who starts to get to know you as a customer and can pick out something that works for you. I think is really important. I mean, even in non-fashion categories, like I get to know what my customers like, and if I know that they're in the chat and they might be listening in the background, I might say, oh, by the way, Donna, this might be for you. I do that way too much to her. Donna, there's another thing for you. But people, you get to know your customers. I think that's something that's very um special on Whatnot. Thank you, Rachel. I think it's very special on Whatnot. I guess you get that on other live selling platforms, but there's just an extra sense of community here
Mhm.
that I never really felt in the other shows. It kind of felt like you were a viewer more than um, it was one-on-one. But I love the fact that you're doing that really personal touch, not rushing things. A lot of people, I think that they watch other shows on Whatnot. They watch the card shows and they watch the storage auction wars, and they think, oh, that's how I need to be. But you don't. And not everybody likes that. Not I mean, I don't think most people like that kind of high stress environment. They want to come in and spend money wisely.
Yeah.
And I think, especially, your audience wants to be educated and learn more, and that's what you do with your fashion shows. Is you teach and you talk and you share style information, not just here's a t-shirt. You want the t-shirt or not?
That's exactly
It's a
right.
nice
It's like
t-shirt.
I
It's
want
extra large.
the opportunity to ask questions. Some of these shows, it's like it says right in the show notes, don't ask questions. Its host doesn't have a measuring tape. It's what size it is, and just buy it. It's like, okay, I'm not buying that ever. Like, I want to know if I'm spending $50 or $100 on a dress, I want to know that it fits. And I want to be able to ask questions. I'd like to know what fabric it is. I'd like to know what the measurements are. So
Yeah.
that's not for me, that kind of show.
And Granny Kathy says, personal shopper, yes. Found a shopper with private access to a thrift store. She was awesome, making sure to find the best product. Ooh. And Rachel
Mhm.
Thrifty says, yes, I love how people share and talk. Community is great here. Absolutely. Good morning, I said Groovy. And good morning to everyone else who came in. Um, we're talking with Elizabeth Oda today on Fashion Friday. Um, what does a typical show day look like for you? How do you prepare beforehand, and what do you do afterwards? Like, what are your steps before?
Um, well, I try to do a theme because I find that sort of attracts people. I mean, this week on Tuesday, I did Toonie Tuesday where everything was started for $2. And so I had a bin of inventory that I had been saving for that kind of a show. So I just set it up, hang it up on the rack probably the night before. And I obviously do not create separate listings for $2 items. So as they sell, I just label them literally with a piece of frog tape and a pen and write the name on the hanger, put them over, and then sort them at the end of the show into boxes for people. And that worked really well. The video receipts on here, I had one mistake in that show. One person had one item too few and one had one item too many. So I knew that there was a problem in there. And it took me 5 minutes to go through those video receipts and find the item that I had made a mistake with and correct it. I do that, like I guess triage the items, and then if it's a weekly bundle, obviously wait until I've done my next show, marry that together, and then we'll ship on Mondays. So it's like come up with a theme, go through my inventory, curate items for that particular theme, run the show, and then really organize the items right away afterwards while it's all still fresh up here.
I love that. And Melody just mentioned in the chat that you've been doing a 7-day whatnot challenge. Do you want to tell us about that and how it's been going?
Yeah, it's been going good. So it was, I believe that it's necessary to make a real effort on here to get yourself going, and that's what I've been trying to do. So Melody asked me to do this. So today is day 5, and I thought, okay, I'll do a 7-day challenge around it. So I started on Monday. What was my theme even on Monday? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, it was Manic Monday Business Clothing. But my husband decided he wanted to go skiing on Monday. So we went to Whistler and skied all day long and then came home and I literally ripped off my, I set the thing up, literally threw off my ski clothes and ran down here and did a show. And it was like work clothes, like blouses and skirts and blazers and things like that. That went quite well. Toonie Tuesday was really popular. I sold 106 items, which isn't too hard when you're selling things for $2 that are new with tags. Wednesday, what did we do Wednesday? Wednesday we did jewelry, and that was quite popular as well. Sold quite a few items of vintage jewelry. Yesterday was vintage clothing. That was less popular, let's just say. And today at 10 a.m. Pacific time, after Melody's show, I'll be doing Festival FriYAY, where my theme today is Bohemian. Festival, music festival type clothing. So think like flowy dusters, crocheted tops, upcycled jean jackets, which is another thing I like to do. I upcycle fashion as well. So I do like reimagined jean jackets, turn them into like rock and roll centered pieces, and recreate some things to save them from the landfill, which is part of what we're doing.
I love that.
Tomorrow is casual. It's casual social Saturday, just casual, relaxed weekend wear. And Sunday's show will be fill a bag.
Ooh.
Yes,
Well, that
$20.
particular,
Sorry.
that's perfect for weekly bundling to have a final like fill up fill up with as much as you can at the end of the weekly bundling.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I think next week I won't do a show next week, I don't think, because it's a lot. By Sunday, it's going to feel like work again. So we'll take a little break. We're actually going away next weekend, so I'm just going to do a little more relaxed approach next week. Might do a show on the other platform because I've kind of been neglecting that one a little bit while I'm getting this one going. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, getting that balance is really tough when you introduce a new platform into your basket of eggs, to try and manage that time, especially when you are retired. So you also want to have a life. Um, so how do you think you're going? Have you thought about how you're going to manage that going forward? I mean, this was a special thing of doing the 7 days on whatnot, but how do you think you'll manage that going forward?
We'll do some work-life balance, I think. I mean, I had previous to this, I was doing shows Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that was working well and feeling quite nice and giving people an opportunity to do a weekly bundle if they wanted to. Not everybody turns on weekly bundling. Like I let people know that it's there, and if they don't have weekly bundling, I just ship right away because I don't think they're going to come back on Thursday. So 2 days a week, I think, is good. I will say I feel some pressure to do more than one show a week because of the weekly bundling, because people want that. Um,
Um, yeah, I have heard from people who feel almost guilty if they don't do an extra show. Um, but I would say if you start making an effort to build your marketplace on whatnot, which for some people who are already on Posh, there's a few apps now that will
yeah.
integrate, so you can just import in from Posh to whatnot your closet, as they call it on Poshmark. Um, and then you can basically tell people, "Yeah, I'm only doing one show this week, but all of my items you can shop all you want. Shop in my store. If you have any questions, send me a message. Just message me and ask me about the item, and I will try and get you the answers that you need." And just really Yeah, I would recommend that, is that if you're like, oh, I'm gonna have, if I do weekly bundling, I'm gonna have to do extra shows. No, just do some more marketplace. Even if you add 5 things a week to your marketplace,
Yeah.
or 5 things a day, depending on your schedule. I always kind of go, 5 doesn't seem so bad, right? 5, 10, 15, 20. If you just start with 5, and work your way up, you'll have quite a closet. If you're not already on another platform with a full closet, like a lot of people are on Posh, I notice. Like you can
Yeah,
just
I have
spend hours
seven.
in people's
I get
closets.
740 active listings on Poshmark. I use the same username, and I tell people in my Whatnot shows to go look in my Posh closet because I haven't got it all imported over yet. And people do, and then they come back into my show and say, I want to see that Free People blazer that you have. So it's all here. I'm happy to just get it out of the closet and say, here it is, and sell it
Yeah.
on this platform, and then I just delete the listing on the other one. I mean, that works. Somebody, I saw a question about apps to cross list. There are cross listing apps. People use Posh Sidekick, Prime Lister, I think Vendu as well. I haven't explored Vendu at all, but Posh Sidekick and Prime Lister have cross listing features that allow you to just import your closet. You have to pay for them, obviously. Um, and there's different levels of like listings. So some different levels you can get 25 a week. There's some unlimited cross listing. I did used to have Posh Sidekick. I canceled it because of a bad experience.
Mm.
When there was a while back when there was some glitch and a lot of people had their entire Poshmark closet deleted.
I heard about that. I,
And
I hear so many Poshmark nightmares that, oh, I can't. Plus the 20%, I'll pass.
well, they got it back. It's all backed up on servers and stuff, obviously. So everybody's closets got restored within about 24 hours, but people were freaking out. I have a relationship with the general manager of Poshmark Canada, so I reached out to her and said, "Hey, this is happening." And she says to me, "Well, do you by chance use this particular bot?" And it's like, well, yeah, I do. And I think they were blaming each other. So I don't know what happened, but I ultimately wound up deleting it because I didn't want to run the risk of losing my closet again. Because there's a lot of work goes into making 736 listings, and to have them just be gone. I woke up in the morning and it's like, your account's been suspended for over deleting. And yeah, anyway, it, it's been
Joy.
corrected.
You won't get suspended for over deleting here, and you don't
Nope.
share. And oh my gosh, the Poshmark ambassador thing. That sounds like so much work. I was like, why?
Well, the
Why do I
bot
have to
does.
look at other people's shows? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to go around liking things? I'm gonna get notifications and offers and everything.
That's
I
because
do
the
notice
the
that
bot does that for you.
there's an app called, I know it's an AI app, so don't come and I will drink less water because I told you this. But there's an app called Nifty AI that is currently in a beta testing. You can apply to be part of the beta test, and it imports from it does cross listing, and they're just doing a beta test now with Whatnot sellers. So that's coming on board too. So there's going to be more and more. Whatnot's growing so big that there's no way the cross listing companies can't pay attention to it. So um, I think it's a. I mean, I understand with the other app that you want to kind of avoid that, but I like that idea of telling people, if you see something on my other, tell me here on Whatnot. I will if you happen to see it on one of my other platforms, you're not telling them to go buy there. You're
No,
saying,
no. I'm
hey,
telling him to come
tell me,
here.
because then it's 8% commission, not
Yeah,
20%
20.
commission.
Yeah.
I'll take that any day of the week.
I don't
Uh,
think Whatnot will be mad if I tell people to look in my Poshmark closet and then come here on Whatnot and buy it, because then Whatnot's getting that commission,
no,
right?
they're more like, don't tell people to go to your Poshmark closet to buy the item. That's
No,
different.
of course not. No, no. Come here, buy it here. They're not going to buy it here. It's better for both of us. I can actually give you a better price on
Yeah,
Whatnot than I can on Poshmark. So
exactly. Because that
there's that.
commission sucks so much out.
Mm.
Taka Thrift says cross list magic works as well. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you. Crossless magic. So you sell both vintage and contemporary fashion. How do you curate what makes it into a show versus what doesn't?
That's a good question. I mean, when I get new inventory, I try to sell it in a show first because then I don't have to list it. Um, and people, you get a discount for that because that's a lot of work that goes into listing it. Any high-end pieces though, like high value pieces, designer pieces, things that are, hundreds of dollars. I picked up a dress the other day. I'll feature it in my show today.
Mhm.
It's a new with tags, Diane von Furstenberg dress. The price tag is $650. So that's getting a listing, right?
Yes.
But a T-shirt from the Gap is not getting a listing. It's going into a fill-a-bag show, which doesn't mean it's a bad item. It's just not worth it to do a listing for an item that is going to maybe sell for $5. Like that's a waste of time for everybody. So I'll do a show with new inventory first before I list it, just to offer it to people first, and there will be a discount associated with that just because I don't have to do all that extra work. So a quick flip. And then I curate based on themes. Like sometimes if I've had some inventory I've had for a long time, I might do a clearance sale to sell it there. If it's been
Mhm.
sitting around for too long, it goes into a clearance show, and I just do that basically by date. Yeah. And then does it fit with the theme that I've
Yeah.
chosen for that day?
I love the fact that you do themes. I think that's really important. But I also like the fact that you're using Whatnot system to your advantage in that you do what we call random pulls to show items without having to list them. You're just doing it by weight or
Yeah,
whatever, whichever
just
way you
by
do
weight.
it,
By weight for
and that
sure.
you're giving your customers a discount because it takes, even if you use the, I mean, I use Whatnot's AI to do my listings using on the iPhone. They don't have it on Android yet, but they have it on the iPhone. So I can take pictures and then I just hit the generate listing button and it looks at the pictures and any of the close-ups of tags and stuff that I've done, and then it spits out what it thinks it is, and then I can just do a quick edit as opposed to trying to cleverly um, SEO write something for each one of the
Yeah,
items.
yeah.
Yes, I do use the AI, and it saves a lot of time. But still, that's still going to be, even when I'm going fast, that's still like 5 minutes, and time is money.
Hmm.
So I too do the unboxing, as you know. I will just sit here and just unbox and pull things, and then if it doesn't sell, then I sort through the not solds to decide, am I going to list this? Am I going to put this somewhere else, like my booth, or am I going to bring this back to another show, or am I just going to save it for another day? So I think that's a really brilliant way of doing, as you said, quick turnover. Is, the more you sell in volume, the more you can make, which means the more you, girl math, then there's more money that you can go out and buy more stuff to
Go ahead and
sell.
stand on things. I advertise on Instagram too. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is at Elizabeth Oda's Closet. And I do reels and videos when Neil and I go to auction pickups. My husband does become involved in this business too. He's also a retired criminal lawyer. He does measurements on garments for me and puts
Good.
a little tag on them. He calls himself the vice president in charge of shipping. So he is the one who tapes up the boxes and takes them to the post office. He's got a good relationship with the post office. And when we drive out to pickups, I'll video it and video the racks of clothing, the back of the car being completely loaded up. And people really want to come and see what is in that shipment. Like they're like, "Oh, I'm so excited for your show because that's the show is going to be what did we get here?" Right? It's just heaps of stuff. So that works really well, and people are very excited to come and see the reveal
Yeah.
of what was picked up. It's a lot of fun.
And you mentioned that you go to auctions. I assume that you're doing like set auctions a lot.
Yeah.
You're in
So
that
I
area.
live in North Vancouver, British Columbia, on the traditional unceded territories of the Squamish Nation. I'll mention with gratitude, where there's a lot of movie sets and filming that takes place. So they sell the wardrobe at auction. Able auctions, direct auctions. The auctions are online, but they do have previews, so you have to go out to the warehouse and look at the items first. Um, Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just like, sometimes I bought an entire pallet of shoes once without seeing them ahead of time. I had gone into this auction because I needed new kitchen bar stools for my kitchen, and it was a furniture auction. And they had these pallets of shoes, and nobody was buying them. Like, they were beautiful leather shoes, and nobody, they were getting $50 for a pallet. So I'm like, okay, I bought one. So Neil and I went to pick it up. And we're like, is this going to fit in the car? Like, it barely fit in the back of our car. So sometimes I don't go, but that's dangerous because you could wind up with some real, you know,
Yes.
some real shite if you're not careful. So don't get too excited. We go out, we preview, I go through the racks and kind of get an idea of what's on there. I never know fully what I'm getting, but I have an idea, okay, this is a good one. I'll be able to resell this. There's some nice items. There's quite a lot of new with tags. The movie industry, they buy 5 or 6 of every piece. So there will be 6 of the same tops. Maybe 1 or 2 have been used and the rest will be new with tags. So they have to have so many of one item if they have to redo a shot or a scene or whatever. So, and they're buying at Anthropology and Aritzia, and like there's lots of really good stuff to be had out there. It's fun. I love doing that. It's just like, oh my God, look at all this stuff. It's very exciting. The vintage comes mostly from estate sales, which is also online auction. There's no opportunity to preview. So it's that's harder. I've had some nasty surprises with things I've picked up being really smelly, some
Mm.
stuff I've had to throw away. So I do my best to um, look at the location of where the place is, like what neighborhood is it in. I look at as many of the photos as I can because it's not going to be just clothing. It will be like things being sold out of the basement. What does the basement look like? What does the rest of the house look like? Is it neat and tidy? Is it a disaster zone? And use those things to kind of judge whether or not I want to invest in pieces from that place. Because otherwise, I've given myself a whole lot of laundry, which is not really what I want to be
No.
doing with my retired
Yeah.
life.
That takes away time. You have to think of time as money, even though you're retired. Time is still money. So, the value of you being able to go out with your friends instead of
Hmm.
doing laundry is
Oh,
has to
yeah.
be taken into account, even if
Yeah.
it's not always about cash. It's about the value of your time. Creations by Lydia asked, do you feel bundling the unsold items is better or listing and trying to sell again?
Um, like I'll only list if there's a certain value in an item. What I'll do with unsold items that aren't worth listing is I put them to the side and I do fill a bag maybe twice a year, or I'll do a $2 show with them. There's nothing wrong with those items. They're just not high enough value to list. So, you might get like a t-shirt from RW and Co that has a tag on it for $15 but is being sold for 2.
Yeah.
So I do that with it. I don't I don't put them into bundles. I don't find that that works that well. I know some people do bundle sales where they put things together. I just haven't had success with it personally. It's not that it's a bad idea to do it. I just haven't done it.
Yeah. And I think the thing is too is that if you bring it to one show or even 3 shows, the right person wasn't in the room at that moment.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that that item won't sell again at some point. It's just the right people have to be in the room. It's just like my analogy that I always say about going to the mall to a Hallmark store. Think about, they open the doors on Monday. There's all the stuff out on the shelves. On Monday night, they don't take everything off the shelves and toss it away because it didn't sell. They it'll be there for months if necessary. Your inventory, you have to think of your inventory the same way, that just because on Monday you didn't sell it doesn't mean that on Friday when you do a show someone's going to come in, not going to come in and buy it. So but yeah, I mean, if somebody's out there and thinking I'd like to do bundles, then go for it.
It might work for you. I've seen people
Yeah,
be very successful with that. It's like, here's a bundle of 5 shirts, and great. And I have tried it. It just didn't work for me, but I've seen people do it very successfully.
yeah. It's also your audience too, right? Like, not, you may get some shows are more for resellers rather than people who are looking for fashion for themselves or to buy for someone else. Then you could always do a reseller show that you just call, bundles for resellers,
Yep.
and resellers will come in because they understand that, if they can get that for $1 each and they can sell it for $3 each, then there's some profit for them.
And don't panic if something doesn't sell. I had an item that I've had it in my closet for like 3 years. It was this vintage suit, beautiful vintage suit, but very small fitting thing. It came from a movie. The actress was tiny. And I had it forever. And then someone bought it out of my closet at full price last week.
Yeah, amazing, right?
They just, the person, it found its person. It was a beautiful garment, just tiny. So sometimes you have to hang on to things for a long time.
Yeah.
That happens. So
And Ronnie asks, have you ever bought from a storage auction?
no, I haven't. Not that I wouldn't. I just haven't had the opportunity
Yeah, I find that
to do that.
for clothing, storage auctions tend to end up being those garbage bags full of clothing rather
I'm
than
not. Yeah, I can't.
racks of good stuff. Although
The
I've done
risk of
I've done
that.
I've done storage auctions and done really well. When I used to be a full-time auctioneer, I would go and buy up storage lockers and then auction off the stuff individually. And it's pretty easy to do really well if you know what you're looking at. Now that everything's online, there are very few storage locations that do live in-person auctions. Most of them do it online now, and it's harder to be able to kind of suss things out. You can't smell that smell when the auction
Mhm.
when
Yep.
that opens, and the smell that hits you,
Yep.
that either the cigarette smell or the ganja smell,
Yep.
and you're
Or
like,
the
okie dokie. Like, you can kind of tell right away just from the smell when they lift the door. And I've bought some doozies that were like basically garbage. The entire thing was full to the rafters. It was online, so I bid basically just from the pictures of what was you could see from the door, and it was mostly garbage. I
ugh.
took two truckloads of stuff to the dump. I
Yeah,
felt so
you're
bad, but
responsible
it's like,
for
because
disposing of it too, right? You have to. That's you've now got to maintain your auction privileges. You've got to take all that crap and
yep,
get rid of
you have to
it.
clean it. It has to be broom swept. You're supposed to leave it broom swept so that it's ready for the
Ah.
next person. So yeah, so I ended up having to rent a truck. Luckily there was a truck company right next door because this was a rural place. I don't recommend rural auctions most of the time. Storage auctions most of the time. And yeah, I mean, I felt guilty, but the stuff was like it was all broken, like beyond repair, dirty, or just, so stinky. There was very little, and I tried to save everything I could, but I just wasted. It was a waste. So just if anyone's thinking I watched Storage Wars and they did this, it's all BS. Planted. Don't
Of course
believe
it
a
is.
word that they say. It's BS. So do
You
not.
know what? You are not finding a suitcase full of Louis Vuitton bags in a storage locker. That's just not happening.
I mean, it must have happened. Like, every once in a while, something exciting. It stuff is going to kind of pop out that's exciting, but most of the time, those storage lockers where those shows, you can just tell. Oh, look what's behind here! I wonder what this is. Pass that over. Cut to
Oh, Gucci.
commercial.
Yeah.
Let's open it up. Cut to commercial. So,
Funny.
storage lockers are great, but they are, you have to be willing to take risks. It is a gamble. And because even if you're there in person and you can smell and you can see, you can't walk in. You're not allowed to walk in. You're not allowed to, you have to like stand right at the edge and just peer in and hope that there's something good there. And there also used to be scams in storage auctions where they would take a box, the box of something that's valuable, and then there'd just be garbage inside, and then they'd put the invisible place the box, the like, like an Xbox or a Commodore 60, anything that would like get a bunch of bids, they would put that empty box there and open up the door. Oh, look at that, this has got to be a valuable locker. No. So I know. So just be careful. If you're going to do it, it is fun as heck if you like digging through dirty stuff and you like digging for treasure, which I do. I just don't have the energy for it anymore. But you also have to take everything and you have to figure out what to do with everything no matter what. So that's the only problem with that. Chicken ice cream says, don't panic sell, especially if it's a nice item. Everyone has different taste. Absolutely. And I
Yep.
Spy Collectibles said, we believe everything has a home waiting for it. It doesn't always find its new home on the first viewing. The right person comes along. Apps freaking lutely. Yeah. So I hear a lot of people say, oh, I didn't do so well in my show today. But you know what? Somebody was watching, and I often have shows where someone will say, like a couple of weeks ago, you had this item in your show. Do you have that available somewhere? And I might luck out and know where I put it. But people come back because of stuff they saw that they're interested in later. So just don't assume that just because you showed it that one time that it's not going to sell again. Creations by Lydia asks, where do you source the movie industry post movie stuff? That's from auctions.
Auctions, yeah.
Yeah, so you just need to look for, you can actually Google movie auctions and it'll pop up. There's one in Mississauga. If you're in Ontario, there's one in Mississauga. 403 Auctions is the most used film industry auctioneer. So
If you're in British Columbia, Able Auctions does them. I mean, they don't happen all the time. Like it's when a production wraps. Maynard's, Able Auctions, and Direct Liquidations in British Columbia are where to go for that.
yeah, so definitely you just Google it. Ask Lord Google. Lord Google shall give you the information. And some of them do shipping, not all of them do shipping. But and if you can't make it out to the preview, as Elizabeth said,
Yeah.
it's a gamble because you don't know
Mm-hmm.
for sure. If I mean, I've bought stuff from horror movies. I've bought sets like, big trailers of sets, and one of them wasn't a horror movie. It was Pompeii. I've had other stuff that's got blood on it. I have a friend who has stuff from sets that's got like the fake blood on it still. But mine was Pompeii, so a lot of stuff had fake ash all over it for when, Mount Vesuvius blew.
Well, those things are good for Halloween, but I mean
They are.
that's a limited time frame. I have bought stuff like that too, and sold it for Halloween costumes and done quite well with it. But you don't want to have too much of that kind of thing. And you do have to be careful with movie wardrobe because they do edit the pieces. Sometimes there'll be holes cut in it because it's for the stunt person, and they need a place to put the harness. So there'll be a beautiful L'Agence blazer, but it's a big hole cut down the side of it. So you need to, if you can't go look, you need to be prepared that sometimes you're going to get pieces that you can't really use. If you can sew, you might be able to repair it. I have repaired some pieces, but some of them are beyond repair.
Yeah, just the way it is. Um, oh,
Do we want to talk about the T word
yes,
at all, or?
yeah, yeah. I do have that here. I've got it.
Okay.
I got it here. I know that it. I'm sure that Melody probably needs some extra time. So we'll talk about I'll ask that question. It is question number 33 on my list. I never get to all my questions. Um, uh, you have a legal background and you sell on Whatnot as a Canadian, so you're uniquely qualified to answer this. With the that said, lawyer, not CPA. What is your general advice for Canadian sellers when it comes to understanding their tax obligations on the platform?
Okay,
Legal.
great. So I'll just start with a disclaimer. This is information that I'm sharing with you. It is not legal advice. You must see your own tax professional to get legal advice. But I did a lot of research into this when the digital platform reporting rules were brought into force. 2024 was the first year of the digital platform reporting rules, and it applies to all digital platforms like Poshmark, Whatnot, eBay. They're all required to report to the CRA information about you. They're required to collect your tax identification information, so your social insurance number when you signed up for Whatnot, your banking information, your legal name, your address, um, and all of that is are reportable elements that are provided by the platform, whatever the platform is, to the CRA. They also tell the CRA how much money you like, how much you've sold, how much money you've sold, and they'll also report how much commission you've paid them and so forth. So you need to know that. If you're only selling, there is an exemption. So if you sell less than 30 items or less than $2,800 in a year, so that's not a lot, but less than 2,800, less than 30 items, the platform does not have to report. You're exempt. So if you're just selling like your mom's purse and your shoes that you don't want anymore, you don't have to worry about it. But if you're a reseller who is doing this as a business and to making income, you need to understand that all of this information is reported to the CRA. Whatnot is much better at this than Poshmark, I will say. There is even when you go into your Whatnot platform into the financial section, there is when you go to get your annual report, there is a link to digital platform reporting. So they tell you what they've told the CRA.
Yeah.
They're supposed to tell you that by January 31st every year. So I didn't sell enough last year for there to be any reporting because I was exempted because I hardly did anything on Whatnot last year. But this year I'm going to expect to find in January of 2027 to find my information there. And then that is what you use to prepare your taxes. So that's really, it's just a point of information that you need to know and understand that that information is being shared. It's almost like you're being T4'd, but
Yeah.
with your business and professional income. So, people didn't think, oh, well, it's just Poshmark or whatever. I don't have to report that. No, wrong. You do. And the digital platform reporting requirements that were brought into law are an enforcement mechanism because our tax system works kind of on the voluntary honor system here in Canada, right? We are supposed to report our income and we do it voluntarily, but the government obviously has this as an enforcement mechanism so that they have that information and what you're reporting should marry up with what's being told. I mean, that said, you obviously keep track of all of your deductions. I deduct everything I possibly can, but that's more granular information that you should be seeing an accountant about. The CRA websites are really good in terms of what they publish. There's information bulletins, there's circulars. It's all there for you to read. You can just research it and read up on it, but just be aware that you could get yourself into real difficulty if you don't report because they do have that information. It's been shared with them. So
Yeah.
that's really all about taxes. I can talk about GST registration as well if you're
Yeah.
interested in that.
Go for it.
So GST registration is necessary if you sell more than $30,000 in gross sales in the preceding 4 quarters. So it's not, they don't look January 1st to December 31st, but they go quarterly. So you need to keep track of your sales, gross sales quarterly. And once you've exceeded $30,000 in the preceding quarters, you're supposed to register for a GST number. And that's across all platforms. So if you're selling on eBay and all the different places, you need
Cumulative.
to add those up. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the total sales. Um, Now, we all know that I am registered for GST now, and I had a not good experience talking to the CRA people at GST on the phone. I was given wrong information about my responsibilities. I was told that I needed to get the GST money from the platform and remit it myself. That is not right. That is incorrect. I wound up speaking to a supervisor and getting the right information. But you do have to, again, Whatnot is far superior to Poshmark on this. You need to complete one of these. This is called Section 506 election, and it's signed by Ryan Colburn, the treasurer of Whatnot. And what it is it's the agreement between you and Whatnot for them to collect GST on your behalf as your agent and to remit it. And so if you have one of these in your file, you ask them to send you one. There's a place on the platform where you just request it. They send it to you right away. You sign it, you send it back to them. You keep a copy for your records. So that makes you, I mean, you're still responsible for GST, but they're doing it all on your behalf.
Mhm.
So when you're not collecting and remitting GST yourself. I mean, if you're selling things at, a marketplace, let's say, in addition, a lot of people do that. They go to marketplaces. Then you got to collect and remit your GST on those ones. But if you're just using a platform, they do it on your behalf. But you do need one of these 506 elections. And you just keep that in your file. And if the CRA ever comes to you and says, hey, where's your GST? We're auditing you. You've got your 506 election showing that you have an agreement with your platform operator that they're going to remit the taxes on your behalf, and that will protect you. Poshmark has this particular form is the one that the CRA recommends you use. Um, and that's the one that Whatnot uses. Poshmark has a different form that they appear to have made up themselves that contains the essential information. I would be more comfortable if they had the actual form, but presumably they got legal advice, and the information that's in their form, I would I'd be comfortable arguing my case based on that information. It was just be nicer if they had the actual form in use. So that's really it for GST. There was a while back, there were all these Reddit threads going around where people were like, the CRA is telling me that I have to pay GST, and Poshmark's not helping me, and oh my God, what am I going to do? Because I guess they didn't appreciate or know that once you reach that $30,000 Rubicon, that you're supposed to register for GST and take these steps.
Yeah.
It's not terrifying or scary or anything. It's just a thing that you have to do. You can do it online. You need a business number, and you just submit your materials online. They give you a GST number. You tell your GST number to Whatnot, and you get your thing, and away you go.
Yeah.
So you just have to keep track of it. That's all.
Yeah.
Um,
And so Melody asks, are you allowed to absorb the GST for your client on marketplace? So you mean like in a market, if you're selling, technically someone's paying your customer is still paying the GST, you just put that into the price. Like it's
Yeah,
it's
you
it's
you
there.
you can you can do that, but if you're selling on a marketplace and you're GST registered, you need to remit that. You've got to keep track of that, and you have to send that in to them.
Yeah. So even if you didn't charge it to your customer, it was still owed, and so you owe it.
Yeah,
You sold something for $1, and you didn't add the
five
taxes,
cents. Yeah, you
you still
got
need to pay the taxes.
or the HST as it is. Yeah, they still have to be remitted, but only if you're over that $30,000 threshold. So, until you reach that, you don't have to worry about it. You're what's called a small supplier, and you don't have to charge GST if you're a small supplier. So if you're not above that, you don't have to think about it. But once you do, so that's why you have to keep track by quarter. So let's say your first 3 quarters, you make $15,000. Then you'd have to make 15 in the third quarter to be, and then the obligation only kicks in the next month.
Yeah.
So that whole preceding year, don't worry about that because you were a small supplier. You didn't have to collect GST, but it starts 30 days after you pass that threshold. So it's just important to know when you pass that threshold, and it goes by quarter.
Yeah.
So then it's like moving forward, okay, now I have to collect GST. You got to put your GST number on your receipts, and there's a bit of extra headache, but that's a good problem to have. Look at it that way.
Yeah.
You've had a successful business because you've sold so much that you have to register for GST. That is not a bad problem to have. It's a good problem.
Yeah. So it's only really if you just sold on platforms like Whatnot, and not outside of that, then the platforms are collecting the GST, HST on your
Yeah.
behalf. So
Yeah.
you don't need to worry about remitting. You just need to keep track of it because you are still going to have to do your own reports. And you need to, once you hit that threshold, as Elizabeth said, once you hit that $30,000 threshold in the previous calendar time frame, then you do need to make sure that you apply for a number.
Yeah.
Um, that's the key thing. But the good thing is on Whatnot, that headache of trying to collect it and all that is taken away from you. All you need to do is download your reports from seller.whatnot.com. Go to the financial section and you can see all your reports, monthly reports, annual reports. They're all there. I think they even have weekly reports now.
Yep, they do, and then you have that information in one easy place to complete your filings.
Yeah.
But they do all the collection and remitting on your behalf, so that makes it very
Yeah.
easy.
So then on the filing, you're just saying, this is what I made. But these, I didn't collect these taxes. They were collected by Whatnot. It's all part of this. It's all part of the reporting now to Revenue Canada. They've
Yeah,
incorporated, so they make it really easy. Our tax forms are so much simpler than the U.S. ones. Like I think you need like a PhD in order to really understand American forms. They're insane, like wads of paper. I'm just gonna. Ronnie has a question. Do each of you have a business license number? I've registered my business, so I don't have. I have a BN number in Ontario, um, but I don't need a license in this area to be an auctioneer. So I don't have an auctioneer's license. But yeah,
I have a business number with the CRA and a GST number. I don't have a District of North Vancouver business license. I'm operating out of my home. No customers come here, so I don't have I don't have a store where
yeah.
people can come. The public aren't able to come here, so I don't think I need I
Um,
haven't actually thought about whether I needed one from the district. I don't have one, so
I mean, it depends. I mean, it costs the municipality money to do business licenses. They're only licensing certain businesses, so you can literally just call and say they're going to tell you. No, like I sell on eBay and on Whatnot, and they're just going to say like no. Um, PST, GST, all same thing. It's all remitted by Whatnot. Ronnie asked, do you suggest that anyone who sells on Whatnot get a business number with CRA? That's totally up to you.
yeah,
Obviously, you need an HST number if you're going to. I mean, if you get a business, you're running. It depends on how you want to rent structure, right? You can be a sole proprietor, um, self-employed sole proprietor, or you can have a whole full out incorporation if you want to go nuts. Um, But if once you hit that threshold, you need to have an HSD, GST, HSD number.
You don't you're only legally required to do it once you reach the 30,000, once you're no longer a small supplier, which is that $30,000 mark. So I didn't do it until I hit that mark in the preceding 4 quarters.
Right.
So that's the personal decision. You can voluntarily register whenever you want. And the only benefit to doing that would be that you could claim input tax credits, but I don't think we really want to get into that kind of a granular level of
Not going to go into that.
detail.
That's it. That's talk to a tax professional about that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Ronnie's asking, when you file your taxes, do you file it under your personal or under your business? It is how you structure. It's how you're structuring things. So I can't answer that because I don't know how you're structuring things. So I would say talk to a tax professional about it. For me, I have it structured a little bit differently. Um, to get
Yes,
your
you need,
Yeah,
yeah,
you need
you
a
need to
business
get a
number to
business
get a
number.
GST number. It's
It's all on the same website section. And in terms of filing your taxes, I'm not incorporated, so I'm operating as an individual, well, as a partnership with my husband. So we report our income as individuals. As an individual person, you can have a GST number and a business number. It doesn't make you incorporated. Being incorporated is a whole other. We were incorporated. We had a professional law corporation. It is a whole other thing that requires lawyers and professional accountants and figuring out so you would need to be it would not be worth it to you to do that unless you had a really successful multi six figure business. It's not worth it. It's expensive. It's a lot of management. All of us here on Whatnot and Poshmark are probably individuals making modest amounts, and I don't, unless you're selling, unless you're Mr. Beast or whatever, you don't you don't need to incorporate, really. And
Yeah,
there's not that much tax to be saved by incorporating, honestly. There's not.
no, because you spend more money on your accountants and your
Hmm.
lawyers and everything else.
Absolutely, and it's very complex and
It's
not
a lot
something
of.
that I would consider doing.
So, last question, before we go, because Melody's going on now. For a person watching right now or watching later on YouTube, who is thinking about being a seller on Whatnot but is hesitating, what would you say to them?
Oh, just dive right in, go for it. People hesitate to do the live shows. Just do it. That's my advice. Dive in head first. You'll be welcomed with open arms. It's a very welcoming community. And I mean, I still get nervous when I start my shows, all my shows, just a little bit. Like, is anybody going to come? I have shows where I don't sell a single thing. That's fine. It doesn't matter. It's fine. I've had people are engaged and I have a good time with that. And no one's going to hate on you or troll you. The community won't put up with that. Just dive in, do it, and you may find you love it, and you may find you don't love it. It's you can just turn it off. You're
Yeah,
in your kitchen or your living room or your basement or wherever you are. If it's not happening for you, you can just say, bye, and turn it off. There's no one holding your feet to the fire whatsoever except for you. And be kind to yourself. Don't set your expectations too high. Be kind and gentle to yourself, and try to enjoy what you're doing. That's what I would say. Just
I
go
love
for it.
I
Do it.
love that. Oh my gosh, I love you. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your donating your
Thanks,
time today
thanks for
for Fashion
having
Friday.
me.
Everyone, make sure that you're following the wonderful Elizabeth Oda, and don't leave. We're about to switch over to Melody, and the conversation is going to continue. So Elizabeth is going to be continuing the conversation. So if you have questions for Elizabeth, there's going to be more time to ask her questions. And we're just gonna yeah, we're gonna continue this. I thank you again so much, Elizabeth. I had
Thanks
so
for
much.
having me.
It's so great to chat with folks and get their perspective on things. And so thank you again so much. All right, what emoji are we going to put in the chat, Elizabeth, when we get over there?
What should we put in? Let's put in smiley cat faces.
Smiley cat faces. Okay, here we go, everybody. Smiley cat faces when we get over there. I love you guys so much. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. We're going to be talking about giveaway rules. I love you.